Tell us about Rick Woldenberg and his challenge to the president's tariffs.
Yeah, he is just the head of two connected educational toy businesses outside Chicago. It's family-owned business, stem from companies founded by his father and his mother. And they make most of their products overseas in China. And so these tariffs hit them pretty hard, and they hit them even harder because as they tried to shift around their production lines, they sometimes did a bad job of guessing where the next tariffs would be imposed. And he was fed up enough that he decided to sue, and his is one of the cases that made its way up to the Supreme Court.
So in terms of this actually having an effect on the president's agenda, could this just completely reshape the implementation of tariffs?
Oh, absolutely, Tim. Now, let me first say that there are other authorities that the administration has used, and the president and the administration has said they'll use even more to impose tariffs without regard to what happens at the Supreme Court. But at the Supreme Court, it's about this law that gives the president some emergency powers to do certain things to protect the economy. And that law is what the president has used for about 60% of the tariffs that are in place right now. If the Supreme Court says that law does not authorize the president to impose tariffs, that would knock those tariffs out. It could open the way for upwards of $100 billion in refunds, and it would certainly make it much harder for the president to use tariffs as his sort of favorite cudgel to try to get trading partners to do what he wants.
How difficult a case is this for the Supreme Court to figure out?
It's not really that difficult. It's the kind of case they deal with all the time. It's really at its core a question about this statute and some words in the statute and what they mean. Now, this statute authorizes the president, gives him certain powers, but it doesn't mention tariffs. The thing it does say is that the president may regulate importation. And at the core of the case, it's really about whether those words mean that the president can impose tariffs, at least the kind of sweeping tariffs that we're looking at here. So it is a familiar type of case for them. It is perhaps one that they're considering on a faster track than they normally do, but it's really kind of a quintessential Supreme Court issue.
I mean, look, you cover the legal side of this, you cover the Supreme Court side of this, but I can't ignore the sum exceeding $100 billion potentially. That's a real fiscal issue for the United States, Greg.
Yeah, it's both a fiscal issue for the United States and, you know, it would be a relief to the businesses, the American businesses who have been paying these tariffs the whole time. And it could have some spillover effect on inflation. So Rick Woldenberg, the CEO of this company, when I was up there, said that they have tried to hold their prices down, but they've raised them in the middle single digits. And, you know, that inflationary pressure will still be there with these tariffs. And if the Supreme Court rules against Trump, there will be a little less inflationary pressure.
Is that likely, Greg, that they're going to rule against this president?
It is certainly possible, Carol. I'm not sure I want to put odds on it. We have, of course, seen the court side with Trump over and over and over again on preliminary matters, on temporary questions of can he do a certain thing while litigation goes forward. This is the first time they've actually considered whether, at the core, he has the power to do something. Keep in mind that there are some precedents out there during the Biden years where they, on several occasions, said, no, Joe Biden cannot, for example, forgive a whole bunch of student loans, billions of dollars in student loans. And they sort of restricted the power of the president to take general statutory language to do very, very big things. And those precedents may come into play and give the opponents of the tariffs an edge.
Yeah, I feel like we're constantly talking about presidential power here. Hey, 30 seconds, if I may. Lisa Cook of the Fed, she's making some comments she addressed about people reaching out, and she's grateful for that, but doesn't want to comment on the case. That case, her case, goes before the Supreme Court in January. And we know that the president tried to remove her. Just very quickly, 25 seconds. Any idea how that might play out?
Well, we'll get a big clue next month in December when they consider another case that has to do with the president's ability under the Constitution to fire other people, like the Democratic commissioner on the Federal Trade Commission in that case. It's not exactly the same issue, but it's closely connected. The Supreme Court has previously suggested it wants to preserve Fed independence, so that may play a factor there.